Right, guys? So we are starting to focus now on the background of our design for our bugs. So in the pictures here, you can see some different examples of what those backgrounds could look like. If we scroll to the examples page of our slide, we can see some other examples. So we are going to be talking about line and how we use line to make patterns and textures, and that can, by adding that around our bug, can add some visual interest and make it look even more aesthetically pleasing. So that's what we will be doing, or at least starting to figure out today. We're going to just be drawing it onto our paper for today. Next class is when we will actually be transferring that to our foil and doing the actual embossing. So let's look back here at lines and what those all mean. I think we all know what a straight line is, right? We've been taught this since like kindergarten. Draw a straight line. But those straight lines can go in different directions, as you can see up above here. So we can get vertical. So those are up and down lines. The diagonal from one corner to the other. Horizontal, the ones that go across. Now, how do we remember horizontal versus vertical? Well, what I like to think of, my little trick for in my head, is I think of the horizon line, right? Where like the sun sets and the sun rises, that's the horizon line. Well, what way does that line go? This way, horizontal, horizon. So that helps me to remember that. We've got wavy lines. So right above my head here, right, there's some like soft waves. There's some more vibrant waves and some really crazy waves like that. We've got scalloped. I kind of remember scales for scalloped. That helps me remember what that looks like. Curly, I think we're familiar with, and curved and spiral. So there's lots of different examples here as well if you want to look at that to get inspiration for your background, for your bug. So all kinds of different lines that we can use. And we're going to use those lines to create textures and patterns. So once again, I'm going to kind of just point out some of the more important stuff here, but if you want to look in more, you totally can. So you can see a bunch of different patterns made by lines here. So that's what we're looking to do for the background. We're using lines to create patterns, that repetition. It can create texture too. And we're going to use that for our background. So here's some great examples here. If you want to, there is a video here as well. It's 6 minutes long and just shows all of these being made. So you can see that if you want to. It kind of just like, you know, zooms through, but step by step how to make each of these. Another thing that I like to personally do, a place I get inspiration for patterns, are what's called Zentangles. Now this is more in depth. Okay, these are not simple for the most part. Well, they can be, but they tend to be a little bit more in depth of patterns using lines. So if you're trying to create something a little bit more fancy with some more flourish than just like, you know, kind of more simple lines like we're seeing here and patterns here, definitely try typing in Zentangle. So it's Zentangle, just into a Google search and see what you come up with. There's so many cool ideas for different patterns you can use there as well. Okay, so that being said, our next step is going to be to get out our bug drawings from the last couple of classes. So I've got my bug drawing here. This is my original, and you can see here's the front side. I chose the copper, the front side of my foil. So now I need to start using my drawing to create a background. Now, if we haven't learned this about me yet, I'm a very type A person who likes to have a plan B, C, D, E, and F. Okay? I do not like being caught unprepared. So I don't like, personally, I don't like the thought of drawing right on my original copy, because what happens if I don't like the background, the first one I draw? Then what? So what I decided to do was to make a copy of this. and I didn't have a photocopier, that would be the easiest way. If you've got a photocopier, photocopy it. Photocopy it a couple times, right? Might as well. Or if you can get to the library and photocopy it, fantastic. Do that. I didn't have access to that, so I had to spend 2 minutes doing this myself. We're going to pretend you guys can see my monitor right here. We're going to pretend that my monitor is a window. So what I would do is I would take my original and tape it to the window. You can see how it would be see-through, right? Then I'm going to take the same size piece of paper, 5 by 5 inches, the same size as our foil, and I'm going to tape that over the top so that all the edges line up. So I would tape that down. Then I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to draw the outline of my bug. Obviously, I already did that for sake of time saving for this video. So that's what I did. I redrew my bug like so. And then I started drawing some patterns around it. So you can tell I kind of did a combination. I did where it's like little dots around and they get more dispersed and spread out the further away they get from the bug. And then as we get further away, it's more like lines and oval, almost amoeba shapes. I don't even know. But I thought it looked kind of fun. So that's what I decided to go with. Now, if you are worried about lining your bug back up perfectly and, you know, having the background actually accidentally transfer into the bug print itself, it's not a bad idea to kind of space out your design from your bug. So you can see I went right up next to the bug. That is risky. Putting that out there. It is risky. So if I want to give myself a little bit of wiggle room, I might want to like start the design, my background design, maybe like 1/4 to 1/2 inch away from the bug. So more like this design here, and maybe leave out the dots. Okay, so keeping a little bit of space will help, you know, negate the chances of our background design going into our actual bug itself. Now another thing, as we're thinking about this, we will ideally, if you guys made your bug symmetrical, we're going to be actually doing the background on the back side because that's going to give us some more dimension and depth. Remember, we're not actually embossing until next class, so don't actually do anything to your tinfoil today. But last time when we put the bug print on, we put it on what we wanted to be our front. Now with the background, we're going to put it on the back side, and that way it's going to like pop up to the front, so it's going to give us some more dimension and depth to your final product, which is going to look really cool. Okay, now if you're worried because your bug isn't quite symmetrical, so by putting it on the back side, you know, maybe it doesn't line up quite right, you can still put the background on from the front. It's just not going to have as much dimension and depth. So anyway, just something to think about. So that being said, final thoughts. We want to, before next class, have our background completed. For some of us, we're going to get the background done in our first shot. We're going to draw it and we're going to be like, yes, that looks amazing, and be happy with it, and we're ready to go for tomorrow. For some of us, we might not like it right away. Maybe we're like, nope, that's not quite it. So then we tape it back up and we make another copy of it, or we photocopy another copy of it, and we try again with a new background, a new idea. So it might take you 1 shot, it might take you 5, I don't know. Just keep on going until you like it, because here's what I can tell you. It's easy enough to change on paper. As soon as we start transferring it to the foil though, yeah, we're not going back after that, okay? That is final. So make sure you like it on your paper copy first before we tape it and get it ready for next class to start embossing on the back side, the background pattern, for the next portion. So have fun, design well. We'll catch you next time.